Offender number 236670.
Correct.
Today is set for your original hearing. So we want to talk through the offenses that brought you here. Also talk about how you've been doing in prison since then, and then potential plans for release, okay?
Correct.
Let's go ahead and get you sworn in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth and be accurate in today's proceeding?
I do.
Okay, thank you. You can put your hand down. Did you receive at least 7 days' notice of this hearing?
I believe so. Yes, when I got my blue packet.
Yeah. Okay. And so you got your blue packet. Do you have any questions or concerns about your disclosure?
I do not.
Okay. Is it accurate?
It is.
Okay. All right. So you're here for a couple different cases. The sentences are running concurrently at the same time, which basically means a 0 to 5 year sentence. Okay, the end of that 5 years would be January 19th, 2027, because you already had a lot of credit for time served and you've been here a couple of years. Now, the board can decide to release you at any point during that range. To do that, we start with the sentencing guideline, and then we can find aggravating or mitigating factors to go above or below the guideline. Your guideline is 49 months, which is April 8th, 2025, so a couple months from now. Does all that sound correct?
I was under the impression it was March, but
March? Okay, I've got April.
as far as the guideline is set on my blue packet, it was March.
Okay, I'll check on that. I've got April 8th, so maybe a couple weeks difference. Okay, I'll check on that.
That's fine.
Okay. And so just going through the case numbers, we got 191500635, which is possession or use of a controlled substance, third-degree felony. These are all third-degree felonies. Case 201500774, attempted possession with intent to distribute. Anything you want to tell us about the drugs or those cases?
As far as those, I was probably at a low point in my life. And I was just trying to make ends meet as far as financial.
Okay. And you said a low point. Have other things happened that are bringing you back up, or are you still at a low point?
At the moment, I'm the best I could ever be.
Okay.
As you know, I've had no write-ups. Try to keep my nose clean and succeeded. Since then, I've been sober.
Mhm.
When I get out, I honestly don't have any plans.
Okay.
Reason being is because I'll be starting fresh.
Mhm.
I'll be dropping all my past friends, everything, and just follow the rules as necessary to
Okay.
do what I need to do to get off.
All right. And we'll come back to some of that positive progress and make sure we talk through that. You've also got case 211500010, sexual exploitation of a minor, which is also with unlawful sexual activity with a minor. So you read the pre-sentence report about that?
Probably, I don't remember it vividly.
Okay. Well, there's a report in there that you were supplying meth to her. Okay. And I mean, as far as her age, so you knew she was young?
I did.
Okay. All right. And then there's a failure to register, case 221500039.
Correct, which is the reason why I'm in prison now.
Okay. Well, let's move forward to the sex offender treatment. How did that go?
To be honest, I feel like I gained a lot of insight within myself.
Okay.
You know, it's hard to explain, but going through my one-on-one sessions with my therapist, I was able to find out more personal stuff.
Okay.
As far as the program, I gained a lot of tools,
Mhm.
especially how to approach situations if this were to ever happen again, which I know it won't.
Mhm.
That being said, you know, I thought the program worked perfect. It did what it needed to do.
Okay. And so you said it won't happen again. Like, what's different, or what do you do different that would make that happen?
Well, aside from being under the influence,
Okay.
you know, this time when I do go out, like, you know, I'll be coherent enough to know good from wrong and bad from good.
Okay. So the biggest thing you think is just not using drugs, and you'll make better decisions.
Correct.
Okay. What about positive relationships? So finding other people.
So at the moment, I have two main supports.
Mhm.
One of them being in New Mexico and another one being in California.
Mhm.
That's why I said when I do get out, I'll be starting fresh with nothing. You know, besides my phone and those people. Um, Upon those people, it's my friend Corey
Mhm.
and her son Saren, and then my sister Crystal and her two sons Eli and Logan.
Okay.
They are my biggest supporters. My biggest supporter was my father, but he recently passed in September. And during that time, you know, it was probably one of the roughest times I had to go through, especially in prison.
Okay.
I did do the necessary as far as reaching out. I got to speak to him before he passed, and
That's good.
so that was probably one of the things that helped me got through was talking to him before he did pass.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. And as you said, you don't have any write-ups, so that's good. And sometimes it's hard to stay out of trouble here. How did you manage to stay out of trouble?
Just set a goal, which was getting back to my support system, which would be Corey. When I moved out in Utah in 2015, I probably met her in, I want to say 2019
Mhm.
or 18, around
Mhm.
there. But yeah, just, you know, like we kind of just adopted each other. And just took care of each other by any means necessary. We kept each other out of trouble. Um,
Mhm.
and her son, you know, like he was just a little brother to me, and something I do plan to get back. You know, following the rules and guidelines of my parole that are set for me.
Okay. And as far as living, where are you going to do that?
Um, to be honest with you, I really don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, when I do get out, um, my end game is to end up either in New Mexico or with Corey, wherever that may be. Um, my understanding is that if I do go to a halfway house, I would have to be there for a year. Um, and that's understandable. Um, and again, you know, just basically my end game is just to be with them.
Okay. Well, there are a couple ways to get into a halfway house. One is called transition, which means you're just there until you can get your stability factors ready. So that wouldn't necessarily be a year. Sometimes people are ordered there for treatment or something else that could take longer.
It's understandable.
Okay. How about employment?
Employment, I just plan to hit every staff agency
Okay.
You know, and get whatever I can.
Okay. Do you have a set of skills right now?
At the moment, I've worked in culinary and I've worked in the laundry. Um, Other than that, um, before imprisonment, I had a bunch of skills as far as construction, drywalling,
Okay.
painting, framing.
Okay. Do you think you need some follow-up treatment on the outside?
I do plan to put myself on Suboxone treatment just to continue my sobriety.
Okay.
Um, it's more for the temptation of relapsing.
Mhm.
And again, talking to my parole officer, I do plan to on putting myself on a substance program and whatever else he requires me of.
Okay. All right. And how's your mental health?
Since September 10th, probably it's been better. On September 10th, like I said, my father passed, and that was probably like my lowest point in prison. Through my 2 years in prison, my mental health's been up and down. But so does every other person. Um, what got me through it basically was being around positive people that have the same objective, which was getting out and doing good for themselves.
Okay. All right. Well, let me summarize where we are. Okay, so you're here in prison, got the 5-year sentence. Your guideline, whether it's March or April, is coming up really soon.
Right.
The board needs to look at deciding whether to release you or not. Since you've been in prison, you've done well. You don't have any write-ups. You've done programming. You have good reports from them. You've talked about some low points, but feeling like you're on an upward trend. And you talked about the program working for you. As far as release plans, I mean, you kind of have some general positive ideas, and it sounds like a commitment to do well, but no specifics arranged yet. So I think that'll be a challenge for you.
I will.
Okay. Now, you might be aware, but the board makes decisions by majority vote, and then we'll send a decision to you in writing. Okay. But as we're considering that decision, is there anything that you think it's important for us to know?
No, just like I mentioned earlier, as far as my end game, being with my support physically.
Okay.
Other than that, just follow the rules and guidelines that I need to do to make that happen.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Do you have any questions for me?
At the moment, I do not.
Okay. All right. Any final comments before we end? Okay. Well, I encourage you to keep a positive attitude, keep working on some of that, and we'll get a decision to you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.